morning. This is David Rizzo at Rogers Garden. September in the garden. It's a roasty one today. I'm already roasting today. It's hot, so a lot of areas we've had a heat streak. So I'm going to go over a little bit about what you do in the garden this time of year, or this time of month. I mean, it's in an interesting transition. We're not quite out of the cool, or into the cool, and not quite out of the hot. So for the next 6-8 weeks, we'll probably be hot. So I'll talk about certain things about when, with the vegetables and the herbs and the flowers, and just go from there. But it's going to be a warm one today. So hydrate, keep your plants hydrated, hydrate yourself, and we're going to get into the talk. Okay, so a lot of times this time of year, I'm one of those people, I like to push a lot of the hot stuff all the way to the end. So I won't do a lot of the cool weather vegetables and flowers until we really cool off as we go more into end of this month, next month. I do want to tell you, we are going to get our spring flowering bulbs coming up in the next 2-3 weeks. So if you guys are looking for like ranunculus and tulips and hyacinths and different types of daffodils and all that stuff, and even some of the South African bulbs, I hope we get some of all the little Cape South Africa bulbs. So watch for them in the next 2-3 weeks and contact me on that. Okay, let's get into the vegetables. So this time of year, it's just an interesting time of year because I don't really look at so much the calendar date as much. I look at what the weather's doing. And I mean, some cities right now, it's been the hottest we've been in a while. Like, I mean, near the coast, we're pushing almost 90. Inland, you're breaking way over the hundreds. So the one thing that I always am looking at, I push the summer stuff all the way to the end. I will start, I'll talk about seeds and I'll talk about some other stuff, but like I wanted to talk about, everybody talks about, or the coin phrase, like fall tomatoes. So one of the things with fall tomatoes, there are some varieties that will give you a last little spurt of fruit as we go into this time of year. But you know what, I find that I've tried so many different fall varieties, and some are good and some have been so I do still plant some of the main season tomatoes, and I just water and start feeding them to see if I can get them to take off. But I'll tell you though, two of my favorite fall varieties that we did get in that I've had really good luck with is Oregon Spring. So Oregon Spring is a little determined bush type. You get medium-sized fruit. Good variety because it's parthenocarpic. It can set whenever. But really, the determinants can be really good with the fall tomatoes because they'll reach a certain height. They'll start flowering and fruiting quicker. But I do like to feed them, water them with a lot of my fertilizer. One of the fertilizers I'm really using a lot this year on the vegetable gardens is I like the BioLive. So the BioLive is a really good one. It tends to have more mycorrhizae in it. 542 has a good amount of phosphorus, good amount of nitrogen, and good amount of potassium. So your nitrogen is always going to help your growth. Your phosphorus is going to help your root development, your flowers, your fruiting, and then your last number, which is your potassium, helps against stress, whether it's heat stress, water stress, environmental stress. So good balance. But what I like about this that people don't realize, they trace a lot of beneficial fungus and mycorrhizae in it. So very, very effective fertilizer. I've used it on all my customers' gardens this year, used it on my tomatoes, peppers, one of my favorites this year. I always will experiment with different fertilizers, but that BioLive, that's a good one. So back to the tomatoes. Oregon Spring, good variety. Plant it now, water it good, feed it. I'm feeding a little bit more frequently. I'm feeding every 3 weeks because I really want to get them going. Jet Setter, another good one. And you can still do all the cherry tomatoes, like this little Juliet, you can still do. The Sun Gold cherries you can still do, so that's still fine. So plant some of your tomatoes, get them going, don't wait. You got about 6 to 8 weeks to get fruit before we start cooling down. So plant those. Peppers, I'm still doing shishitos. I'm still doing Japanese eggplant. Doing Persian cucumbers. A trick with Persian cucumbers, I'll tell you, is I like to put them on the backside of my tomato cages and I let them climb it, and they get some of the shade from the tomato, and then they get enough sun to flower. But that's the one thing. Persian cucumbers, good little hothouse type of cucumbers. So moving through it, I'm doing a lot of beans, I'm doing a lot of cucumbers all the way to the end. I'm holding off on some of the other vegetables. I mean, you can still, if you're near the coast, I mean, you can start putting your chard in. You could do lettuce, but again, if we're hot and you guys are really hot, wait until we cool off for another 3-4 weeks. And even like with the broccoli and the cauliflower and the kale and the cabbage, it's gonna go late this month, see what the temperature is doing, or it's gonna go on to October. So if we're still breaking 85 to 90 on the coast and 100, 105, 110 inland, wait until you cool off more to about 75, 80 degrees so the plants have a chance to root and it doesn't stress them out so much. So that's with most of the vegetables, so keep planting. When you see a lot of the color packs of beets come in, beets and carrots and your root crops, you can start planting them now, but what I do is I do seeds. I don't do plants. So when you look at it, I'm going to break into seeds. I'll talk a little bit about seeds before I go into herbs. So what I do is I'm doing Touchstone Gold gold beet. Do it from seed. Now is the time to do seeds of your root crops. Detroit Red. So as we cool down in the next 2-3 weeks, I like to do the shorter carrots. This is called carota, shin carota. I like to do the chutneys. I've always have had better luck with the shorter carrots, like the little fingers. Mixed results with some of the longer carrots. You know, here goes like the Harlequin, the mixed, more Calliope mixed, Cosmic Purple, but I like the short carrots. So let's see what else I got. So I do start doing let's get it all together and I'll show you. So I do start doing like my broccoli, my Swiss chard. I wanted to really bring this up. We got Renee Shepherd Seeds back in. One of my favorite companies. I still really love Botanical Interest, but I just love Renee Seeds. I've always have. She has some really good varieties. So chard you can do from seed, but sometimes I'll do these in containers to get enough water, like the broccoli. This is main crop broccoli called Bravado. So broccoli, cauliflower, even kale, I'll do from seeds right now in containers, and when they start getting rooted, I'll plant them out in the garden in 3 to 4 weeks. By then we should be cooler at night, and then they'll really take off. So, and then some of the other stuff, I wait to direct sow. So like these, I'm going to direct sow in the next few weeks. Like lettuce, the Paris Island Cost, your regular romaine. I like some of the mixtures, the mescalines, Wine Country salad mix. One of my favorites though, I love gourmet baby greens. So this is one of my favorites, and this is by Botanical Interest. Love that variety. It's such a good variety. And then if you do some of your Chinese broccoli or Napa cabbage, I direct sow these because they're so fast. A little bit different than your other vegetables, very fast. Love the arugula, the raquet, but I like Astro. One of my favorite arugulas. I love Astro. So I'll be direct sowing those in the garden in a few weeks. The same thing with some of the spinach. I'll do that direct sowed in a couple more weeks. And then there's another, here's some other broccoli that I like too though. Bellstar. Bellstar is a good one. I like the bigger heads of broccoli, like 6 to 8 inches. That's a good one. Bellstar. I do like Early Wonder. If you guys are juicing at all or making your own juices, this Early Wonder is really a good variety for juicing. So yeah, you could use the stems, you could juice the whole thing. That's a good one. So that's with the seeds. But again, watching to see what the weather does. I will probably do the root crops now. Some of the leafy vegetables, I'll wait a few weeks, but definitely the other varieties like the broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, I'll seed them in containers now, put them in the garden in 3 to 4 weeks. Or more like 4 to 6 weeks, depending on when they're established. So that's with the veggies. Okay, moving on to the herbs. Herbs always have a tendency to be a little bit more hardier towards heat, towards weather. So I'm still doing, and even though it seems late, most years it would probably be late, I'm still doing a ton of broccoli, or not broccoli, I mean basil. So basil loves this kind of weather. The trick with basil, it has to drain and it likes a lot of water. If it ever gets too much water, heavy clay, you're gonna rot it out. So basil likes that drainage, and keep clipping it. So we got the Italian sweet basil, we got the Italian large leaf basil, The bigger difference between these two is this will have more of a clove flavor, where this will sometimes have more of a black licorice flavor like an anise. But what I always do is keep pinching them. What I'll do is I'll cut mine back to half right now if it's in the garden. I'll take the flowers off. I'll start making pesto, but never prune them harder than 50% because they won't come back, you know. So prune them half and then take the flowers off and start making your pesto. And I'm gonna make some pesto. I'm gonna start experimenting with pistachio nuts. Oh, doesn't that sound good, like Sabrina? Oh, that sounds so delicious. And there's Lori. Let's wave to Lori. Hi, Lori. Good morning. And don't forget to follow me. But shameless plug, and I won't say any more. But anyway, moving on, keep doing your basils. All your basil, like your Thai, your sweet Thai basil. Love this basil. So all your basils, keep doing them. Some of my other favorites that I'm going to do right now is Chef's Delight Sage. That's a great one for making brown butter. I do really like, and we don't see this variety that much with the chives, I really do like the Korean chives. They're a flat leaf chive, and oh, they got so much good flavor. The oregano right now, like the Greek and the Italian oregano I like. It might be too hot right now for dill and cilantro. So sometimes I wait for us to cool down about in the 70s again, because the dill and cilantro, plant them right now, it's gonna be too hot and they'll take a hit. They might not, they don't like it really warm, but you can do barbecue rosemary, favorite. I love the parsleys, the Italian flat leaf parsley. English thyme, I love the English thyme. I love mint. The thing with mint, don't put it in the ground. It'll take over. This one is called berries and cream. I love to put mint in tea. What I do is I'll take a 12-inch pot, about 6 inches deep, put a good potting soil, like a Malibu potting soil, water it 2-3 times a week, really good, and just put it in full sun. But I love using mint. Mint's a great one. Oregano, I got more oregano, I got more basil, but that's the one thing of it when we're hot. I don't rush into the cool season stuff so quick. Still doing the heat lovers. Let's go through. So that's it with the vegetables and with the herbs. So now we're going into the flowers. So you got a bunch of flowers that I want to talk about. Annual, perennial. I guess one of the things when you're talking flowers this time of year, and it always seems like, you know, the way our weather is now, it seems like September and October can be hotter than June or July. And I watch this every year because I plant so much stuff that sometimes I'll still push a lot of my summer perennials into the fall, planting wise. But I wanted to tell you a little bit too, when you are planting this time of year, be careful with a lot of your annuals, because when you're still planting like sweet alyssum and petunias and marigolds, you'll have to really keep them watered to make it through the hot weather. But sometimes too, if you are planting some of those annuals, don't plant them in the morning or in the afternoon. Water them good the night before and plant them in the evening. And you might put a little umbrella over them to keep them hydrated. So that's with all the annuals. So moving on, I pulled a lot of perennials, and I just sort of want to go through that. Some of my favorites that I'm going to plant right now, and we have such a good selection. So all the scabiosas, the pincushion flower, great for the butterflies. Butterflies love it. The echinaceas, oh, the purple echinaceas, the orange. So the echinaceas and purpureas, they're good. The gaillardia flowers, even though they need a lot of water, this is a relative of the wildflower called Clarkia. It's sort of a distant cousin. But yeah, blanket flower or gaillardia. One of my other favorites, even though we're just starting to get them, is I love Arctotis. Arctotis comes in like the oranges and the yellows and the pinky colors. Love doing that. You got into some really good Marguerite daisies right now. So the yellow and the white are great to do. One of my new favorite varieties has been this little Evolvulus called Beach Bum. Now you can use these in a hanging basket. They flower, but they stay compact, and they don't yellow out like the tall varieties. So that's a good one, Beach Bum. I do like Gara. The white Gara is my favorite for the butterflies. They'll get tall, 4 to 5 feet tall, but great perennial. And then it's not too late. Still keep planting your milkweed. We got some little 4-inch ones in, we got some 1 gallons in, so keep planting your narrow leaf milkweed. So this is Aspergillus fascicularis. I didn't say that right. I sort of I'm like having a little bit of, but anyway though, your narrow leaf milkweed, keep planting it because you want to support the monarchs. And then we're getting in another plant that nobody talks about. Is it's not lamb's ear, it's another variety of statues called mononeri, and these are great for blooming through the spring and summer. So if you like to draw butterflies, perennial garden, do these. I want to take this off the table really quick, and then I want to talk about some of the other perennials that I brought up. But that's why that I love perennials. I'm such a perennial type of person when I plant, because I like to see plants come back. So we got a really cool Biddens, and nobody's been really talking about it. This is called White Delight. Biddens. Wow, it's a great bloomer. Got some really nice brachycomb, Swan River Daisy, great perennial to put in your garden right now. The Chocolate Cosmos. Love the Chocolate Cosmos. Plant those now. Your big variety of salvia called Black and is it black? I always want to say black and blue, but this is a new variety called Black and Bloom. So a good variety. Nice Artemisias, got some good ones. You're getting your popcorn plant, that's a good one. One of my favorite natives, and a lot of people have a tendency to overwater them. Sticky monkey flower, the mimulus. You can put these in the garden, but make sure you don't water them that much. These things, they overwater these left and right, and you can see all the foliage dying. These could be watered once every week or two, not much. Got another little milkweed. So, and the yarrows too. This is a great one for the food for the monarchs and the butterflies. The yarrow, Apricot Delight. That's a good one. And I love the salvias, like the Mystic Spires, the Misties. They're really good for the hummingbirds. And I love the Cufias. This is Presidente. That's a good one to use. You got your Cufia, your cigar. This one though, I will say though, this is one of the favorites with the hummingbirds. The hummingbirds love that plant. Pentas are a great perennial too. You know, the hummingbirds will go after it. It's a hardy little perennial, takes partial shade, just partial sun. So let's get this off the table. We're done with that. And you know what I want to do, and I don't talk too much about it, is we got some really good fall. If you guys are now that we're going closer into fall, we got some really good plants for that fall display. Nice little grasses like some of the little fireworks, pennisedums. We got all of the, one of my favorite plants is I love the ornamental sweet potatoes. So this one is called Bright Ideas Rusty Red. This one is called, let's see, because there's so many different cultivars now. This is called Solar Power. Nice red. I love this lime. So these are great. Pop in a container, let them trail. You can put bigger stuff in them to do more of that fall. Your ornamental sweet potato around it. You might do a gaillardia, like black mondo does better in the shade. This ornamental pepper would be a great one too to do in the middle of a container, and that's just to do a little fall container. And then you got more rudbeckias, 6 inches. Rudbeckias are nice, so definitely do those. Okay, and that's it for those. Oh, I wanted to, here, let's see, do a little bit of a plug. I should have did it earlier, Don't forget to go into our Halloween room, the gallery. We're like, it's like, I love these sounds, like, but anyway, though, don't forget that. That's a big happening, and that's been good. And so let's go through, and I'm going to put this back really quick. Here you go. Thank you, Sabrina. And then I want to talk a little bit about the maintenance end of it. I know I go through so many plants and so many varieties. Maintenance. So maintenance on hydrangeas. This is the time of year in September you cut them back. So a lot of people are like, oh, they're still blooming. Well, they're pretty much to the end of their bloom cycle because we're already into September. And the thing that you want to do, let me grab one, is, yeah, they're going to show fungal problems. I'm not worried about that. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take this flower off to the next set of leaves down. I'm going to take that flower off. This comes off, it's finished. So what I'll do I will just go around the plant and cut down to the next set of leaves. And the reason why I'm doing this is this growth might try to flower again, but then it won't flower next year. So that's why I'm going to go through and I'm going to strip these down. All the leaves come off. If they got any new growth on them, comes off. And the reason why I'm stripping all these down, I want them to rest through the rest of fall into winter, because they've been blooming since about May or June. So I always strip all those leaves off them. And then sometimes we'll see buds swelling for next season. So like even down here, buds swelling. But a lot of times, don't be afraid, strip all the leaves and cut them back. They're done. Because I know a lot of people have been coming in going, oh, they got fungal, they got mildew, they got black spot, or they got shot hole fungus. Now's the time, September, October, better mid to late September. Cut them. This is pretty far. Normally, if you guys have them in the ground, they're going to be taller. Trim it to 50%. This is just a little guy that I light pruned. But when you prune them, don't let the gardener prune them in winter and spring, because they're going to get the flowers off. You prune them now, because then they're going to develop new buds and new growth in January, February, March. That's going to bloom on that new growth in June, July, and August. If the gardeners get out there and they prune them in, January, February, they just cut all your flowers off for the next year. So only prune them once a year, which is usually around in September. Don't prune them again. And you wouldn't start feeding them again until probably about April, May. Some people do put the bluing agent down, which is sulfur, in usually about April, May. You're always trying to shoot about 4 to 6 weeks before they start developing their flower buds. So then the pigments, the sulfur helps drop the pH to keep them blue. But pink will turn blue. If you have white varieties, they won't turn any color. So that's the thing. So that's maintenance with hydrangeas. We're winding down the season for them. You can plant new ones, but even the new ones, light trim them back, because you want them to flower next year. So another one that I want to talk about maintenance-wise are the roses. So sometimes when you're going into this time of year, this is a really good variety called Delish. It's went through all its blooms. I still, with new growth right now, I still will light trim it back, because it's looking pretty thin. Like, see how upright it is? So a lot of times I'll strip off some of the bad leaves. What I like to do is I'll light trim it back. And the reason why I'm doing this is I don't want the flowers to come out when it's hotter. I want them to come out when it's cooler. So I'll just go around the whole plant and I'm light trimming. I'm just taking those tops off, because what I want it to do, I don't want it to be so leggy, and these thorns are sharp. So see how it's nice, and I've trimmed it back. I'll take some of the foliage off, and these leaves aren't fungal, they're fine, they're just older leaves, so I'll clean it up. I will fertilize it. That's another thing that you want to do with roses. You want to get them ready for fall, which will be more into fall, like October, November, their last bloom. So that's important. You want to get them they're ready for the last bloom. And I do like to use the down to earth rose fertilizer. I always will use a little Epsom salts. Epsom salts are magnesium sulfate. Try to put down Epsom salt twice a year. Do a summer and do a fall, or do a spring. Take that back. Do like a January, February, and do like a June or July. Haven't done it yet? Do it again. But do about a handful per plant. Now, since Epsom salt is a salt, you want to water really good after you put it down. So Epsom salts go down first, lightly worked in. Your fertilizer goes down, lightly worked in. When it's really hot, I'll throw a light compost over it, just to help it retain some water, and just watering them. Keep them hydrated. That's the most important thing with roses right now. They're going to have a little bit harder time going through into some of the areas where it's 100, 105, 108, 110, just water. So, and I don't really, I guess the thing when I water, I'll get a good water nozzle, like I love the Dram. I love these Dram. This is a 1,000-hole water breaker. You can even just use a regular nozzle. But the one thing I like to do is I don't really hit the foliage as much. I water the ground, soak the ground. That's important. So I use lightweight hoses. Like these lightweight hoses work good because then you're not always trying to wind them up. So those are really good to use. But I do like the Dram products where they're made really good. So I like these nozzles, but I'm not really watering the foliage. I'm really always trying to hit the ground on roses, on trees, on everything. You can wash off the leaves once in a while, but don't do it during the heat of the day. And really quick before we finish up, feed your fertilizer citrus one last time. Feed. Orange, lemons, limes, kumquats, fertilize one last time. If you've got a problem with whiteflies, scale, mealybugs, throw down some worm castings. Very important. Some nutrients, yes, but one last time. I don't feed in October. Problem with caterpillars on tomatoes, on peppers, BT, Captain Jack's, good one to use. When it's really hot, I don't use neem. When it's really hot, when we're over 85 degrees, don't use neem. Neem is very oily, so use it when it's cooler. 65, 70, 75. Don't use it when it's 85, 90. You'll fry your plants. One of my favorite sprays, though, for aphids and for woolly aphids and all that, insecticidal soap. Love the soaps. These don't have any degreaser alcohol in them. They're not going to burn the leaves, so made for plants. Captain Jack's, good company for the soaps. Another thing when it's really hot, sometimes I like to do, I do the compost teas a lot. Malibu compost tea, it's a tea bag, steep it in water it in. I do like the kelp extracts, a lot of natural growth hormones. 2 to use when it's really hot. Just get some nutrients going and some little things, just help out nutrients. So that's the thing. And not so heavy. And so, I think that's about it for, I didn't really talk about natives, but I mean, I love the natives. I don't know if you guys know this, I'm off the camera, but I just want to talk really quick. I love native plants. Natives are one of my favorite. I don't know if you guys know that because I'm always known as the big vegetable gardener, and with my tomatoes and with all that, I love California natives. Like one of my friends for years has worked for Native Sons, and I know a lot of those guys, but buckwheat, I love the California buckwheat. This is one of the ones I always liked. It's called Coyote Brush, Baccharis polaris, a San Bruno lady. This is a great one for hillsides. If you have really hot hillsides, this will get like 2 feet tall and 6 to 8 feet wide. Love this native, and I love the ceanothus too. This is Yankee Point, ground cover ceanothus. I love all the natives. Quick plug though too, let me see, even though these don't look that good, we got a really new variety of verbena that's really cool, that's a lilac color, and it's called Paseo Rancho. So this is a cool one, new color. And then I wanted to show, that's with the natives, but I love the natives. If you guys ever want to come in and talk to me about natives, I love the natives. One of the other plants, hard to grow, California fuchsia. I love this plant. Don't water it, plant it, water it once every 2-3 weeks. But sometimes with the natives, I don't water them as much during the summer, but when I do have to water them a little bit, I water it like it's raining. I'll water it once, again in 3-4 weeks. Once, not maybe 2 to 3 weeks, established maybe every 4 to 6 weeks. Another one that I like that came from Monrovia, it's called Blue Stem Prairie Grass. This is a cool one. So we're finishing up, and if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask me any questions. And so we're wrapping it up. So question time. You guys have any questions?
I don't see any coming in currently, but what we'll do is we'll actually, our comment section is going to be open when we post this. I already posted it on Facebook. It did kind of cut off early, but we are going to be posting the whole thing on there. And then if you did want to comment or even call in, David's here most of the week, so
come and
you
see
can
me.
call
I'm
in
here
for
all the
him.
time. I'm off on Thursday, Fridays, but I'm here through Saturday to Wednesday. Okay, come in and talk to me, ask me, you can call me, and you guys, okay? Happy gardening. It's David Rizzo, Plant Geek, aka Rogers Gardens, everybody. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, keep hydrated, keep everything watered good, and we'll make it through the heat. Okay, thank you guys. Check with us on Facebook, Instagram. Bye. Have a good day.